So hello everyone. So I should look at the camera. My name's Stephen Drew. You know exactly who I am, and I'm joined here with an awesome guest today. I'm joined with Oliver Lowrie. Now, just before we begin, this is a new thing. So we're learning all this stuff on the go, and we're not just digital anymore. We're not just on Zoom. That's frustrating. We're in real life. We're in person. So my guest is the fantastic Oliver Lowrie of Ackroyd Lowrie, and the doorbell is going. Do you want to check who's at the door? Who's there? Delivery man.
Delivery, yeah. That's good timing.
Delivery. Oliver, it's so good to have you here. How is your day going?
It's good. A couple of doorbells going. There's another
doorbell. We'll answer that.
Delivery next show as well. Yeah, sorry.
We could get the doorbell. Come on, guys. Who's at the door?
Like, we were saying when we were planning this, we were like, it's going to be like MTV Cribs. And actually, it's not. It's sort of like Noel's house party so far, with like people randomly turning up at your door.
I love it. I love it. Well, everyone in the audience, you can join us on this mad adventure, and you can put live in the comments and have a guess who is at Ackroyd Lowrie's door. But we've got more important things than just the door. Oliver, do you want to tell me a little bit about the studio you're in?
So we're in Viner Street in East London, sort of Bethnal Green. We usually have around 30 staff in, but being COVID times, I think we've got not so many in today. But you know, everyone's gradually coming back, so we've got usually around kind of 20 people in the office every day. So this is a big warehouse space that we took on the 20-year lease a few years ago, and we've kind of gradually rebuilt it. So we rebuilt the back roof. We've got all these roof lights in. So Tia, do you want to just take us round?
Wow, there we go.
So we've got nice double height space, and then we've got the other two floors, one of which Stephen's on. So we added all these roof lights that kind of naturally ventilate us in the summer, which is nice. And we've got Marta here, who's our associate director, and more roof lights at the back. So Marta is working on, what are you working on?
Right now on Thomas Battersea Kensington.
Oh no, we can't talk about that one. Yeah, so forget that one. We're going to talk about Croydon though. This one is one that we can talk about. So this is Antoine. Antoine's one of the associates here. And this is a scheme which is actually around the corner from our office here in Hackney. And Antoine, do you want to give a little bit of information about it?
Sure. So it's actually very close to our offices. It's in London Fields. This is a mixed-use scheme with commercial space at ground floor basement, and we've got 32 flats above.
Nice.
This is a conservation area. And we try to get views from the existing context to make sure we fit in and stand out at the same time by the architectural quality of the design. And I think, as you can see, we managed to really get a scheme that fits in and responds to the context and provides quality accommodation for the future residents.
Excellent.
Thanks very much, Antoine. Yes, that's a really cool project. So that's in planning at the moment, hoping for a committee date in the next month or so. Jakob's lunch has turned up. That's good to see.
Yes, that's actually John's lunch that he delivered to the office rather than me.
Oh, nice. So Jakob is working on a scheme in West Bromwich. I forgot the name. Some 240 unit scheme around this really cool central courtyard. We've got quite a few schemes in the Midlands, of which this is one. Big regeneration. Can you show Can you show it from the outside as well? There's some funky shapes going on with this project here. Look at that. This is Jakob's Mona Lisa. It's he won't stop working on it.
I love it.
I'm trying to convince him to work on other things, but it's not happening. It's not happening. This is Anna. Anna doesn't want to be on camera, and she said she wants to speak in Spanish. She's working on a 100-unit scheme in Wolverhampton, so it's another of our Midlands projects. And this is actually starting on site pretty soon. Anna, do you want to talk about it?
Well, yes, this is located on Wolverhampton. It's a 100 flat residential building, and it has some offices at the top.
Very cool.
It's mainly using the materials. The materials are quite industrial, as the array is. So we are using brick for most of it, and then this kind of zinc, which shows this kind of industrial look. And yeah, well, we are now on stage 4, stage 5. We are going to build this massive building.
It is a massive building. This is Nick. Nick's brand new.
Hi there, how are you guys?
Hey,
Nick's
Nick.
from South Africa.
Yeah, still pretty new here, just sort of learning the ropes. But yeah, I think this is based in Birmingham and Quizlet Road, if I'm not mistaken.
Close. It's in Walsall. But,
Okay,
yeah, it's
so it's close enough.
another Midlands project.
And yeah,
This is on site now, I think. So they started on site a few weeks ago.
yeah. So what I've been
Excellent.
pretty much doing is trying to resolve sort of some of the cladding details, doing like a ventilated brick cladding, and yeah, that's basically been my headache for the week. So that's about it. Not much more about this project that I can tell you.
Thanks, Nick. Martha's busy. She was going to show a really cool scheme in Croydon, but she's on the phone now. So this is Yuki. Yuki's working on a scheme that we've actually bought the site of. So as well as architecture, we've sort of made a foray into development. This is a scheme that a site that we bought in Harlow in joint venture with planning consultants that we share our offices with. And yeah, that's how it's going to look in the end. Nice one, going straight to the render. That was a good idea. So it's actually on the edge of a really cool forest called Rectory Wood. That was it, well, Joe. And so all of our units are designed to overlook the forest and then have this kind of planting going down the facade. And yeah, that's it. So the forest is kind of going up the building. We're really excited about this because we're the developer. We get to decide, make decisions at a strategic as well as kind of design level, and we want to bring the forest up front of the building. So that's what we're going to do. Thanks, Yuki. So this is Joe. Joe's in the metaverse right now.
Hey,
like Tron.
love it.
Well, so we use VR, virtual reality, as a design tool, and Joe's actually inside the Wolverhampton model, which is the one. Oh, yes, the one that Anna was talking about. Can you take us down to street level and just walk around? Yeah. So there we go. We actually use this because we want to test out before stuff starts on site. We want to make sure that our designs work. So we put our clients in here, we put planners in here. It's really good. We actually go in there, we do multi-user design sessions. So if I put on a headset now, I can go into the same model and walk around with Joe and let him show me around and criticize or endorse his design. And it's a really, it's a really useful way of designing. And you can see it from above. But for me, the human scale, the human level view is the best. This is a mad feature that the developer client wants. He's building his offices here on the top of the building, and then he wants to have one of the flats on the other side of the building. And so he's asked us to design a retractable bridge, like a drawbridge, that can go down and up.
Very cool.
For his morning commute, which is pretty mad. And Anna is the one having to work out how to actually do it, which I think she's enjoying. Cool.
Right.
So if we go upstairs now, this is the MTV Cribs bit.
Yeah, have a look what's happening in the studio. Let's see.
These are our very cool Thaler light bulbs, which were given to us by Thaler, who are our next door neighbours. Very cool lighting designers.
Oh, there you are. Hello.
Weird.
Here we go. We might have to leave you here, Tia. All right. Thank you, Tia.
Thanks, Tia.
Excellent. So welcome. All right. So we're all here. We're live. There we go. We got one anonymous comment from the audience already saying, I wasn't expecting VR space. That's awesome. So just before we jump into the story, do you want to tell us?
My head in. Where's my head?
You might have to go in this seat or join this.
Go?
Yeah, you go. We're right. So it's all working now.
Yeah, you were a bit stressed out by it, but I told you it would be fine.
It would be fine.
Did I look like Annika Rice when I was going upstairs?
No, you
challenge Annika.
You were fine, but this is new for me as well because this is in person.
Yeah. You're a creature of habit. You are uncomfortable with change sometimes.
I know, but I'm addicted at the same time. So tell me, right? I gotta keep focused. I gotta practice my presentation skills in person
in real life. Yeah.
So this has to be functional for the audience as well. So everyone here, you can leave a comment and I can bring it up. So we've got the anonymous VR comment. But if you want to ask Oliver a question, now's the time. If it's a naughty question, I'm not going to bring it up on the screen. But if it's a good question, an architecture question or about the practice, we will do it. Maybe you want to just jump in and tell us how long the practice has been going for.
So this, I think, is our 7th year.
7th year.
And like I said, we've got around 30 staff. So now the scale of projects that we're working on, so we've got kind of 240 unit scheme that you saw downstairs, 100 unit scheme on site. We've got the largest scheme we're working on is a kind of master plan of around 1,000 units and some commercial. But we started off doing house extensions and really done everything between a house extension and a 1,000 unit master plan along the way, including I designed a funeral home, which was pretty mad, and I had to actually go around and look through the morgue and the cold body storerooms when they were in use, which is pretty mad. We've done education, healthcare, student resi, co-living, co-working, lots of office. Most of it's residential-led, sort of mixed-use development now. Yeah. We tend to work with developers mostly, but we also work with a few end users. So we've got a specialism in film and photographic studios. Yeah. And also in education, we work a lot with end users. So we're doing quite a few private schools for the Thomas School.
So much project. We'll show it on the website while you're talking as well. But I absolutely love it. So there's so much going on. So I can bring up here now. We'll get rid of the banner. But this is all the stuff that's been happening in the news and everything else. And you can see now. So when we're talking about these projects, so this is probably actually my favorite that's on the front. And that's St. Thomas's, right?
No, Saint. It's the Thomas's school. It's just
right.
Thomas's. So
just the Thomas.
It's the Thomas's family that run the school.
Yeah.
The Thomas family. And so that's was the old Royal Academy of Dance in Battersea, and we're converting that into a private school for the Thomas's school. Some other ones flying up. That's the one Anton was showing, Lamb Lane in Hackney. Very cool because it's so close to our office. That is Thomas's school again. And then I think there was some other ones that. Well, that's a film and photographic studio in Islington called Harbour Coachworks. We've got a hotel, top, middle, residential left, regen.
Love him. I'll click this one because this apart. So I love Thomas's, but Harbour Coachworks, this is probably one of the sexiest projects, right?
Yeah. So this is when we started the company sort of 6-7 years ago. This was like the kind of the second project that we looked at weirdly, and his amazing client, Alva Studios. So Simon was one of the people that we go on audio clash. There we go.
Yeah, we go.
Simon Ferrant, who runs that company, is one of the first people that we met when we set up our business, and I think we only really had one kind of other project going on, and then we met Simon, and we've now delivered 3 or 4 studios with him.
Very cool.
So long-term client, and he's got he's kind of revolutionised, I think, the film and photographic studio scene in London.
I love it.
He likes to provide very high-end kind of back of house or front of house facilities. So the shoot space is a big white box, but then everything on the other side of it, everything that you would experience when you're eating, when you're getting changed, when you're having your hair and makeup done, is very kind of high end, sort of Soho House kind of style. And that was his model, and he's kind of he's nailed it. They look amazing, the spaces.
Well, I brought it back to us because I couldn't get YouTube to load up the beautiful project.
Right.
So I think that's awesome. So there's so many cool projects going on there. But what I'd love to know as well, we've got a few comments just to kind of break the ice here. So Sarah says this is very cool. And Imran has got a question for us.
Yeah, I know. I've read it and I'm not sure what the answer is.
What software is the VR? Well, I know a little bit. So we use Twin Motion.
That's not what we
that's
do
the
down
modeling.
there, but yes, wait. The modeling we do in ArchiCAD.
Yeah.
And if it's got interior finishing off, then we will use SketchUp just to finish it off. But it's mostly done in ArchiCAD. We don't like Revit. We like that. And then we are now bringing in Twin Motion because it goes back to back with ArchiCAD, and that will be used for the VR. But at the moment, I think we're using. I can't remember the name. I'd have to ask Antoine. It's called
Lumion is one of them.
It might be Lumion. But all the models are hosted
on that platform.
On the server. Effectively, it's like a tiny metaverse that's only used by Ackroyd Lowrie.
I love it.
But it's good because it means we can bring all that kit on the road and do demonstrations in planners' offices. And as long as we've got the Wi-Fi, then the model will load up from the portal that it's on, which is pretty cool. Oh no!
It's all right.
It's a jump.
It's a John.
Yeah.
We'll take you later. John wouldn't want to be on LinkedIn right now. We'd ambush him live. But so there's so much. I love the office environment. You're a big believer in using tech to make these awesome buildings. and that kind of gives a little insight of what it's like to work here. But this company's grown to like 30 people in the last 7 years. So who, in your opinion, fits in really well? What skills, when you're looking to hire people, what are the qualities that really fit in an Ackroyd Lowrie?
Good question. So in terms of software, because we chose to go ArchiCAD rather than Revit for our firm, there's less people that automatically qualify in terms of like competence of the software. So for the kind of the part 2 project architect roles and even associate roles, we want people that can actually get their hands dirty in the software. Yeah. And so often we're recruiting people with Revit and then having to teach them. So the software is not necessarily, one of the primary things. For us, it's like, got to be used to the fast pace. I think
that's why I work here, right?
Yeah, exactly. So Stephen works with us, and you like the pace. You like the,
I do like the pace.
It's relentless.
Entrepreneurial, ideas.
Yeah, passionate, enthusiastic.
Live streams on the go, working it out
as you go along.
This is what it's all about.
This is what. So the guy that set up LinkedIn said, starting a company is like jumping out of an aeroplane and trying to assemble your, parachute on the way down, and that is the truth. And so I think we like people that are like happily going to join us in our mission and our vision, and our high level mission is that we want to build a company that delivers the cities of the future. We think they need to be sort of zero carbon, amazing places for the human experience, and we're passionate about building a company that delivers them. So we want people that share in that mission. So we need to have this sort of like, a bit of zeal about you of wanting to change the world. I think when you go into architecture, you always think you're going to change the world, and then you realize you're going to have to do a load of window and door schedules for quite a few years, and then you come out the other side of it. So I'm like back at the other side of it, where I'm like, oh no, you can change the world. You don't just have to settle for doing a load of I was going to swear them, but I won't.
Toilet, I know. You don't want to be the toilet maestro, right? You want to do something a bit more.
The toilet maestro for a little bit. That's why you never made it.
I didn't want to do it. I was too impatient. I didn't.
You said you were too distracted.
I was very. Well, my problem is if I'm not interested in something, I don't have any attention span on it. so
that's noticed that.
Yeah. So detailing was out the window. That's interesting. So let's go back to that, because that's really interesting. So that's the kind of person that fits really well. So when the person joins you on your team, so it must be quite a varied role, right? I'm sure that on the day-to-day of the job, it's not a case of it's a large company where you're doing a big airport and you're doing those door schedules for like 3-4 months. How is the role varied compared to larger companies?
Yes, I think, like everybody that when they start with us, our staff handbook is very, says you're the architect. It doesn't matter what role you're coming in at. We expect you to behave like you're an architect. And what that means for us is that architects need to be responsible for lots of stuff, and they need to be good at communicating. So it's like we want people that are happy to take the responsibility, take the lead. If somebody wants to be the design, if they're like, I desperately want to be like the designer on the project, I'm like, great, it's one less thing that I've got to think about.
Exactly.
If a passionate person comes in, they've got good ideas and they're able to communicate them really well, and what do you need? That's essentially what being an architect is. So we don't want people that disappear into the background and want to be like small cogs. It often doesn't work when people come from larger practices where they're used to sort of a bit like blending into the background. Everybody needs to sort of stand up, make their ideas heard, and communicate them effectively. And that's what we want. We want architects. At every role, if you're part 1 and you're thinking of applying, just treat yourself like you're an architect already. That's what we want. We want everybody to be driving, the business forward. I
love it, and it's quite an exciting time in that way, because there's been actually a bunch of internal promotions as well. So fill me. Well, I got to turn my phone off as well, but fill me in for the general public as well. So now there we've got associate director, soon to be an associate, which I shouldn't really expand further.
Other way around. So Martin has just been promoted to associate director. Woo! And then below that, in this part of the senior team is I think there's 4 associates.
Love him.
And then below that, project architects and kind of part 2s. But the way that we wanted it, if our company strategy was running perfectly, we would only really bring people in at part 2 and architect level, and then we would just kind of promote them internally. Obviously, that we have to sometimes do promotions hiring at a senior level as well, but like we've got a kind of an academy, if you like, within the company to try and educate people and bring them from part 2 level up to architect, then up to kind of project architect, senior architect, and then associate. So we ideally would just want to, do the kind of Man United academy where you produce David Beckham, Ryan Giggs.
That's our next task, isn't it?
The AL Academy. Well, it's up and running, so we've got internal kind of. We believe that the university system at the moment doesn't really produce office-ready candidates, and that's fine. It teaches them some skills, but not really the ones that you're going to need in most businesses, but particularly ours. So instead, we've got our own kind of education process, and that applies to you, whatever level you come in at. Our onboarding is pretty well defined now, and we want to teach people what our design process is. And I think what I'm very keen to not do is tell people how to design or what to design. Sorry, I don't want to tell people what to design. I want to teach them how we do the process, and then allow them to adopt that and use it. And so if you follow the process that we set out, and I follow it and you follow it, and we're looking at 2 different sites, we're going to end up with 2 different buildings,
right?
Because the process should allow you to come up with the solution that's right for the site. So we believe that buildings belong in the place that they are. And therefore, you have to look first at you have to look at the site. You have to look at what's around the site, and you should be getting your design ideas from the things that are around you, plus the client. So the client plus the context equals the concept, and then the concept should then drive all of your design decisions from stage 1 to stage 5. And if you follow that process, if I follow that process on one site and I follow it on another site, they'll come up with totally different design solutions. So that's the thing. We want to teach people like a process of what they should be looking at and and thinking about, because we want to give people confidence. So often people come into the company and they went to university, they designed a load of stuff for themselves with some tutors that gave them some weird feedback, and then they did a load of scheduling, and they're like, oh, this is just what architecture is. It's like room data sheets or whatever, insert slightly boring tasks that you do at part 1 and part 2. And then when we get them back, we're like, okay, no, we want to teach you to fucking believe again. Sorry, teach you
sorry, LinkedIn.
Sorry, teach you to believe in your own design skills. But these are the steps that we go through and build people's confidence. So, from part 1 level, getting them to design whole buildings, going through this process. And I think people love it. And within a few months, I think they become very confident and comfortable making these big design decisions, because the process helps them understand what the sort of the right decision would be.
I like that. And from the outside, because it's been a while since I've loaded up right there, and it's been a while.
Should we do it to you? Should we make you design some stuff?
I can do a little bit. I wouldn't mind having a go at some point. I still got one friend who's convinced that I will return. He's like, "You're gonna come back." I'm like,
if you're gonna be anywhere, it's gonna be here.
Yeah. Well, if I was gonna do my part, can you imagine me in the part 3 review that they're like, Steve, you kind of had a little bit of a segue for like 10 years.
No, don't be an architect. Becoming a qualified architect, but you get back into design.
Well, this is what the interesting bit is, because actually the AL Academy in that way would suit, because I don't fit right now the standard status quo of part 1, part 2, the part 3.
Doesn't matter. We've set it up in grades, and there's nothing on our description of what you need to move from one level to the next in terms of pay and responsibility. None of those things get job titles. And I like that. And that's intentional, because we have people in our company that they aren't going to go down the route of becoming RIB qualified, and that's fine. It doesn't hold them back from being an associate or being a managerial role and being a designer. None of those things need to, you don't need letters after your name to do that. And so we believe in promoting people based on the talent that they've got and the responsibility that they want to take on. And that, whether they are a qualified architect or not within our company doesn't hold you back from those promotions. And we're very clear about that. Our grading system doesn't say architect. So if you did want to dust off your big clunky mouse thing and start designing stuff, we would just tell you what the next things you needed to do to be able to step up our grades up.
I like it.
You have to get some water. Right?
You need to have some water. And what I like here as well, so you can be technically on paper a part 2, but you can be running projects, and with that you will get the responsibility, the autonomy, the support, and the financial reward in line with what you deliver. Right? It's not a case of you're technically a part 2 until you do your part 3 piece of paper. I think yes, that's true, but at the same time, that's true if you're not going down that route. I think if you are going down the route of the part 3 and stuff, there's when you get your part 3, you get a pay rise. Of course you do. You've worked hard for it. So I think that is
but if you were somebody who's just going, no, I'm not going to do the part 3 thing, but I want to become a senior person, then we can give them a path for that as well.
Yeah, love it. We've got Ava in the audience, which has said, "Hi guys, thank you for doing that. So you invest in people. It's not only about getting the job done. You're the old mentality of growing the business with the people." So I think I know what Eva means here, and yes, you do support.
Is Eva calling me old?
I don't think so. I don't think that. I think Ava's applauding the fact of supporting people rather than the old mentality. So thank you, Ava. We appreciate that. So a little quick reminder here, because it's probably a nice halfway segue. So anyone in the audience that wants to do any comments or ask Oliver some questions, then we can do. You can also ask me questions, but I'm probably not as interesting in this one because we've got Oliver. Huh?
Very interesting.
No,
Also,
but I mean, I've got you here for now, and
okay,
you're a busy schedule.
I've reread Ava's question, and yes, we invest in people. So as well as we pay for people's part 3, but also then we want people to kind of specialize. So we want people to pursue like further learning after part 3, and we'll invest in that as well because we want people to have their own knowledge, specialisms, eventually their own profiles. I think that's important for the business.
I like that. So you've kind of got people who are interested in VR can pursue that as well and become the in-house VR expert. What does that mean? I am the person on the phone expert.
Well, you're the head of our recruiting.
I am
department.
I will take that. I will.
Is at the moment you?
Yes.
Head of talent. No,
I am head. Yeah.
So for those who don't know, Stephen has a role with us, and you do more than just recruiting the people. You're very good, like sort of barometer for those. Once you've got the people in the door, it's good. You can go and touch base with them.
I enjoy it.
They're getting on well. You're also very good at giving us insights of what the market is doing, and that allows us to then tailor our the benefits that we offer our team around what is competitive and what's going to win people.
True.
You're also very good at doing surveys. So
yes,
amazing stuff.
I've done my surveys. Do you know what I'm actually looking forward to? And I'll be really open here because I really enjoy being here. I also run my own business as well, and that can be really lonely. So it's going to be so fun this Friday because we're all going to go out. And for anyone, just so you're aware, I've been actually properly doing Dry January, and Oliver has. So normally there's like a Friday and everyone has a bit of laughing and winding, and we've been sober Joes. However, on Friday it's dryish January because it's January the 28th, but it is kind of the end.
It's over for me. Yeah. I've had enough.
So on that point, because I think it's important to mention, we went to Paris. Very lucky timing because it was just before the next lockdown came, but it's really good that you go on holidays and stuff as well. So has it been a challenge, especially during the pandemic, keeping that fun vibe going? You've tried in certain ways and it's worked, but it's always been a Zoom quiz is boring. After a while,
it was, and I think part of the vibe here is everyone's young, like most people are in their 20s and 30s. I think John's the only. There's a couple of people that are in the 40s, but like mostly it's younger than that, and part of the vibe has always been that we party together and we work hard and then we play hard together. And we take people to Valencia and Barcelona and Paris and Amsterdam and wherever else we've taken them, but also we party on a Friday and we all go out together and it's part of the bonding. So lockdown was really hard. Individually for me because I hate
social
not seeing people, and then also as a business trying to keep the vibe. But we were very quick to pivot. I think we dealt with it better than most companies because a lot of our we're focused around technology, so we were very comfortable just like we kind of gave headsets to people and we were using VR to communicate, which is cool. And then we try and keep the social going with Friday drinks online and doing stupid quizzes around our house. So we had one day where he did cocktail making first, and then but they were so strong and everyone was so pissed, and then he was like, right, the second task is like you've got to do a treasure hunt in your own house.
Oh, but you know where you put it down.
He didn't after that much cocktail, so it was fine. It was actually quite hard.
Well, a good effort for imagination. Well, it's kind of cool that now, I mean, part of the exercise we're doing at the moment as well is that with people coming back to the office, obviously you're good with the hybrid and flexibility, but it's about making it a fun environment as well.
Yeah, you can't really tell people to come back at the moment, so instead we're trying to make the office as the place where people
if they want to come, it's fun.
If you want to come, so we've built our roof terrace out there.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait. I was going to turn the camera around.
Yeah, we can.
Oh, there we go.
You can turn it around. So there's a little roof terrace.
I don't like it when I touch the technology, do you?
No, it's okay. It's fine.
It's fine.
I've got like my hidden orange wrappers in there as well. So,
So that's, you can't miss it. But anyway, there's roof terrace out there, and then we get a
Yeah.
ping pong table.
oh, I've got pictures
in
of
the
this.
summer.
Yeah, the staff party and stuff. Let me go get that now. So let's bring it back to Ackroyd Lowrie. So on the join the team page, there's a few social images here. So I'm here, look in the corner. Hey,
There you are.
and this is when it was safe. This was like one of our really good, fun, absolute like good laugh in good weather. And this was one of the rare occasions as well, because I think like probably a month after we went back into another lockdown.
Probably.
There you go.
Probably.
So we do try to have a bit of fun as well. I've got it's only fair I bring up Imran's question because he did ask a little while ago, and he says, does the same ideology apply to architectural technologists, i.e. running projects? So do you want to expand, Ollie, on how the technical team and technicians and technologists fit in Ackroyd Lowrie?
Yes. Can you apply, please?
Yes, Imran, you've mentioned it. I'm waiting for your CV and portfolio. But if any other recruiters are watching this, I'm going to try and disconnect you from the conversation. So Imran, do send through your application. That's awesome.
Yeah. So look, it's about the job you want to do, not the letters after your name. I honestly, Natalie, one of our, well, she's a qualified graphic designer, and her dad's an architect, and she knows how to use our software. And there's no, the sky's the limit in terms of
She's
where
one of
she
the
ends
best.
up. But she's not going to end up doing part 2, part 3 because she hasn't done part 1. But it just doesn't matter. And the same with the technologist. Like, for me, the company needs to be a chartered RIBA company, but the individuals within it,
Yes, collective mix.
For me personally, I don't see it as something that should hold you back if you don't want to go down the route of getting your part 3, but you still want to be heavily involved in the design and delivery of buildings. Because it's about the passion, enthusiasm, and what you want to do and what you want to take on. Imran, just apply, please, because we're looking for some.
Well, Imran's we're looking. Imran, do send your application through. Loris has talked a techie question close to home and conversations. Do you have an opinion related to NFT architecture? Well, we can do a two-way thing on this because
you go first because you got so many opinions about NFTs.
I've got total opinions. You're right, but so then he continues. Do you think that would be a real opportunity for future architecture? So my opinion is yes, and I'm working on something on the architecture social. So I don't know where the space is going to go, but I think you've got to experiment with it. I do think there's a massive opportunity there for people to get creative, and I'm looking to do something in the architecture social. Now the thing is with NFTs for me is the real challenge is how to bring real purpose in real life attached to this NFT. So with the social, how can an NFT on there help people with their careers? That's really the brief. I don't really know all the answers yet, but that's how I look at it. Now, Oliver, you might have a completely different perspective.
Well, I do really, because I think that
you're running a practice, and it's a bit different.
So the opportunities that I see in the metaverse, NFTs.
That's one little bit for you, isn't it? It's the metaverse.
What NFTs are at the moment, which tends to be like two-dimensional tokens. I think that's not the limitation. So I think for me, blockchain is going to be a very important part of the property market in the future, because I think the transactions are going to be captured by blockchain. So NFTs are kind of, they're blockchain. They're using blockchain to establish the ownership and the value of something. And I think property is the most obvious thing that would be captured by, so property in the real world, I think will eventually be controlled by blockchain instead of the land registry, which is very antiquated. So that's one thing. I think then you could do fundraising for development projects using NFTs that are actually related to the physical building that you're going to build. So you can sell off plan with NFTs, because it's like such a secure way of making sure that you're going to end up with the property at the end. Makes obvious sense. You have then a kind of digital twin on the metaverse that is a digital twin of the building that you're going to build. That then means that you can then input into the design of it, because you can be observing how this design is evolving in its digital twin version before it's even built on site. So that's kind of cool. I also, those are just two applications of it. We're very interested. I'm judging a competition on metaverse architecture.
That'll be fun.
Shortly with
Renovio. That's it. That's the one.
It's a space that we're really interested in. Some of our clients are very keen to. Developers are keen to buy up space in the metaverse and get us to design things. And again, there's no reason to use an architect. So I think it'll be game designers end up being the architects of that metaverse space, because I think they're better at designing,
understand the platform and everything.
So I think architects might be a bit cut out of it, but at the same time, there's going to be the opportunity for kind of brands to work together. So Zaha, for example, they're already
pushing in that area.
Selling their kind of brand association in spaces in the metaverse where people want to have like an experiential retail, thing. That's kind of what they're selling at the moment. I think there'll be lots of that. So I think shopping for cars, for example, I think will be done in the metaverse in 5 years' time. Why bother going to a car showroom? You can go and put it on a headset and look around it. Yes, you might want to drive it at some point, but like for the look, you just do it with a headset. So then that means you're going to have to build a virtual car showroom,
or virtual buy a flat or fan, right?
Yeah, exactly. Or your own avatar. You could have a shop for your avatar, and like an avatar shop.
It goes down this whole rabbit hole, and that's why I remember when they were saying we've got to be careful. I don't want to be that guy who talks about NFTs all the time, because there's always but I'm borderline that guy, but I'm that guy trying to suppress it. So
add beer and it just becomes more.
Or Friday, it's all bottled up. Yeah. And my tolerance, I don't have any tolerance anymore. So God knows what we were talking about in the metaverse. So I think what we're going to do now is so people can ask Oliver any last questions. I'm going to flip this around, because normally the host asks all the questions. However, Oliver, and this is completely unscripted, this is a chance to ask me anything you want live.
Oh wow! I've really spoken to you so much today. I can't think
we said everything.
Oh, I think so. We covered so much this morning. What do you think that people should be asking you? These are presuming the people that are watching are mostly people that are looking to get their kind of the first jobs or second jobs or third jobs. What should they be asking you in terms of the advice? Like, what's the best piece of advice you could give those people now about how to get a job either here or in another?
I think good question, because the market conditions change at the moment, because there's a lot of companies that are looking. Now, what that means is, while there's a lot of choice, I think it's a perfect time to find what you want, or really think about where you want to go. Because if you're just chasing or thinking about going to another practice for an extra $2 to $3 grand, then guess what? When this market condition changes, the reality is salaries will all even out, and then you're working somewhere where you joined at a higher salary and you don't like it. So it's really about clinging on to the values that you want to pursue in your career. So whether that's practices within the sustainable agenda, or bring on emerging technology, or companies that can take on your skills that you're looking for so they can be utilized. Those are the opportunities you want to chase, and those are the companies that you should pursue. So that's kind of my advice.
That's good advice.
Yeah, because it's really seductive at the moment to go people will throw money at you.
The one that moves quickest first, but then everything else will move.
Yeah, because money's so temporary. What you can buy people. So if a practice really wants your skills, they can throw money at you and it can get tempting. But you've got to think do you want to be there in 6 months to a year? And I think that's my biggest advice to job seekers, is to kind of think about the companies that the values are there. And of course, you want your pay in line with what's fair, and that's no problem. But just don't get seduced if you see ads which are crazy high at the moment. You got to think about the practice. And the other thing I would do, the other bit of advice over is, you got to feel comfortable going safe and wear a mask and all that stuff if you want to. But I think it's so valuable going to an interview in person, and not just for the employee, but for yourself. Because if you go into the company and then you see the office and you get a vibe, then you can decide if you want to work there. Whereas it's a little bit risky, I think, just taking an offer purely on Zoom, because you might not like the environment when you join, and then that doesn't work for the employer or yourself. So they are my 2 takeaways.
Very good advice.
Yeah.
Am I the interviewer now, or
you can throw 1 or 2 more, and then when you say you haven't got any more. All right. So I think last call, we're going to do 1 or 2 more minutes. People can ask questions. While I'm doing that, I'm going to bring up the contact details of where you can find us. So the website is www.ackroydlowrie.com, and I'm going to bring up the website for the next 2 or 3 minutes to see when questions come in, so we can have a little look through here. So that was one of the nice staff parties. Here's a few images as well. So let's quickly go through these, but it's good fun.
That was office trip to Barcelona or Valencia. I can't remember which one that is.
Lovely. I love him. And we got
Party.
a little party here, little drinks, and that's
where we are now.
That's where, yeah, that's right. And that's you guys doing the meeting. So you've designed the office as well. It's important to mention that.
So this whole back wall folds open to make it into a bigger room.
There we go.
That's another. That was another staff trip to either Valencia or Barcelona.
I'll bring it back now. Here we go. Cool.
When we go to these trips, it's like they're kind of workshop sessions. There's obviously lots of fun and drinking, but there's we try and do lots of vision stuff. So that's us using the VR on that Lamb Lane project, which is the one in Hackney. So that's Sam and Anna and me.
Very
in
cool.
The VR that's downstairs. That's ages ago.
So that one. I'll get a new image there, but great. So, and you can check out, I updated this recently just to talk about the company culture and why I work here. We've kind of covered that today. And if you're interested, you can click this, send an application. I will try and get back to everyone. If you haven't heard from me as well, be brave, be bold, and call up. You can call up Ackroyd Lowrie, and you can call me as well and just double check where your application is. But on that note, I think we've covered everything. So thank you so much, Oliver, for hosting us. I really enjoyed today. I really enjoyed trying out, testing this. And I think, actually, it's worked out all right, hasn't it?
You were so worried.
I was a bit nervous for the first 5 minutes.
Oh, have you got the sound? You've got a sound bar?
I had one. Are we still live?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
What?
You like do a round of applause. And,
I haven't, so we'll do
Westwood.
Yeah, we haven't. So we'll do a real round of applause for the audience.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. It's been great. I'm going to sign out now, and do get in contact with Ackroyd Lowrie. You can drop Oliver a message on LinkedIn or drop him an email. His details are on the website. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.